Asia's webinar, a holistic look into the safe lifting operation and noisy environment. I hope all of you are coming in through Facebook and also YouTube. So if you're watching us from Facebook, you will need to be logged into your Facebook first before joining the group that you will be watching us live from. Now, I'm Amanda, and I'm from WSH Asia, and together with my team, we will be bringing you through today's webinar, and hopefully we will all have a big takeaway from this afternoon. I know all of you here are joining us from around the globe. We have people from Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, and many other parts of the world joining us here today. I hope all of you are safe and well during this time. Before we begin, we would like to thank the following organizations for supporting this webinar. We have the Singapore Workplace Safety and Health Council, the Asia Pacific Occupational Safety and Health Organization, APOSHO, Hong Kong Association of Risk Management and Safety, Newcastle Australia Institute of Higher Education, the Singapore Facility Management Association, SIFMA, NSCA Foundation Limited, National Safety Council of Singapore, the National University of Singapore Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering Department. So thank you all for supporting this webinar here. We are all here today thanks to you. Now, let me just bring you through today's webinar rundown. We have the first speaker, Mr. Jason Oh. He is going to talk to us about the safe lifting standards SS 559 2010 and the need for an appointed person for lifting operations. Our second speaker will be talking to us about hearing protection. Then the third one will be talking about understanding the technology of knuckle boom crane in developing sound risk assessments and safe work procedures. And last but not least, we are going to have Mr. Philip Tan to share with us whether your workers are communicating safely and effectively in high-risk work situations. Now, before we call upon our first speaker, let us have our founder, WSH Asia founder, Mr. Raymond Watt, to say a few words since it's the start of our webinar series for 2022. Now, Raymond, if you are in the studio, you can join us. Wait, let me just... Yay, right. Hi, Raymond.
Great, hi. Thanks.
Over to you.
Thank you. All right, I think before we start, definitely, once again, we are online, we are digital once again, and it can be very lonely here because we do not really see our audience. We know you are there, so can you help us to make some noise? And I see NGSW99 saying hi, thank you so much. Yes, please feel free to type comment on your social media, say hi, say hello, say good afternoon to any one of us here. And yeah, let's make some noise. As I say, it's going to be a different webinar style that we are running. So please feel free and be ready for a surprise today. All right. Once again, the formal thing, good afternoon, safety practitioners and stakeholders. Thank you for taking your time in attending this webinar. A big shout out to our speakers and supporting organizations. Thank you for your great support. Many times when we hear or see information on products and services, we conclude that this is an advertisement and someone is trying to sell something to us. We will then shut our ears and mind because nobody likes to be sold to. However, it is important for safety practitioners to be constantly informed of what new solutions are available in the industry so that we are armed with the latest solution to safety and health challenges in our workplaces. World of Safety and Health Asia understands this importance. Therefore, our online marketplace, e-magazine, digest, awards, and webinar are designed for safety community to be in the loop, entertained, and be informed as well. So without further ado, may I invite my colleague Amanda to welcome our first speaker. Amanda, please.
Right, thank you, Raymond. Let me just try to add this. Okay, great. Thanks, Raymond. And indeed, it's a very lonely time here in the studio. We will try our very best to make this as interesting as possible. And hopefully, we'll have many surprises for you throughout this call. Yeah, please do send those comments in. We see your comments coming in through YouTube. And if you're watching us on Facebook as well, please do drop a comment. We will all be able to read your comment from our studio here. Now, without further ado, let me just introduce our first speaker today. Our first speaker is Mr. Jason O, the Principal Consultant of JOH Safety Consultancy. Jason has more than 25 years of project engineering, design, construction, and management experience. He started from ground as a project engineer, safety officer, or manager, WSH auditor, civil and structural designer, contractor, project manager, and director, developer, project manager, and design for safety professional. The projects range from infrastructures, heavy industry, chemical warehouse, clean room environment, and equipment, process plant, school, hotel, resort, private and public residential housing projects. Well, that's a lot of projects. He was also in the reviewing committee for SS 536 2008 Code of Practice for the safe use of mobile cranes, and SS 559 2010, the Code of Practice for safe use of tower cranes, which is what he is going to talk to us today about, right? Today, he's going to present to us a look into safe lifting standards, SS 559 2010, and the need for an appointed person for lifting operations. Now, Jason, if you're there, I'm just gonna add you in. Are you here, Jason? Hi. Okay, hold on. Hi, Jason.
Okay.
Hello.
Thanks for
Okay.
the introductions.
All right. No problem. You're most welcome. Over to you, Jason.
Right. Thank you. Good afternoon, all the workplace safety and health professional. Thank you for taking the time to join in for this webinars. I would like to share the importance of this person called the appointed persons. But of course, today I will not be able to cover the new Singapore Standard 559 is yet to be launched, but I will share some of the important points to all of you. So looking at the slide, as you know, that is involving safety lifting operation, and also we have speakers on noise as well. So the Workplace Safety and Health Act, as we are all known, came in 2006. And one of the important elements that is highlighted in Section 40B, Code of Practice, and also given the Workplace Safety and Council, right, the mandate to actually issuing all this Code of Practice. The advanced, also called the approved Code of Practice, according to Section 40B, it says that it has used as a yardstick to assess whether reasonable, practicable measures has been taken to upkeep safety and health standards at the workplace. So as we know, this is a yardstick, so which means it is a very important document for us to know, to assess, to implement. And looking through the notifications, the latest one, which is the Workplace Safety and Health ACOP Approved Code of Practice Notification 2021, we have total of 88 ACOP. Next slide, please. So I have actually highlighted some of the blue boxes which is relevant and to the lifting operations. And all this ACOP, as an appointed person, it is important for you to be aware and understand and how to apply all this ACOP into your lifting operations. So going to the next page, you can see the SS 536 Code of Practice Safe Use of Mobile Cranes, SS 559 Code of Practice for Safe Use of Tower Crane is both inside the list of ACOP. And moving forward, the next page, you will see the SS 617, which is a Code of Practice for the lifting of person in the work platform suspended from cranes. So in short, this is a main case we are referring. And I happen to be the convener for this new standard as well. And the last page will be, as you can see, use of ladders. We have this SSEN 131 use of ladders. So this whole document of ACOP, total of 88 documents, it is important as a workplace safety and health professional to be aware and constantly update and adopt some of this ACOP into your safety and health management system, into your safer procedures with your risk assessment. So moving forward, the next page, as we know, the ACOP comprised of this gazetted Workplace Safety and Health Council, which is an issue code of practice, and the Singapore standards relevant to workplace safety and health. So moving forward, you can see this is the website for this Workplace Safety and Health Council. You can actually log in and access to this code of practice. I just, in short, the next page you can see, this has been published and issued by this Workplace Safety and Health Council. The code of practice for workplace safety and health risk management. The latest revision is 2021, which is last year. The code of practice on safe lifting operation in the workplace, the revision, which is 2014. The next one is a code of practice for working safely at height, came out in 2009 and updated in 2013. So all these are readily available in the Workplace Safety and Health Council website. Please have access to download and use all this ACOP to be in your safety and health management system. And beside that, we have the Singapore standards. You can log into this website to download, to purchase all this ACOP online. So moving forward, I just want to quickly touch the appointed person specifically mentioned in the SS 536/2008 Code of Practice for the safe use of mobile cranes. Under clause 2.2, it is stated that a competent person appointed in writing by the occupier or employer to carry out any supervisions or inspection or to perform any task or duty prescribed. But in this SS 536, it is not very clearly stated the duty of these appointed persons. And of course, this year, in fact, we started the SS 536 review 2 years ago. So in this new review, we hope to add in more clarity, the role as an appointed person playing in these standards. So the next standard will be SS 559, Code of Practice for the safe use of tower cranes. Under the clause 3.1, it is stated a person appointed in writing by occupier or employer for one or more project site to carry the function and simulated in clause 4.3. So in this standard, if you go to the clause 4.3, which is the next page, you are able to see more details. What is the exact role and responsibility as AP? So moving forward, you can see that as an AP, right, the duty will be from A to I. Appointment of an AP ACC for installations, dismantling of tower crane. So if you install, dismantles, tower crane, of course, the approved crane contractors will be the one will need to appoint this person called the appointed person to perform this role of installation and dismantling. And of course, as occupiers getting the projects, you will have to start looking into selection of crane, establish a lifting plan, and you have to select a competent lifting teams to perform all the lifting operations. Ensuring your risk assessment and safer procedures for installation, dismantling. Phase 2. So when you want to perform your task E as an appointed person, you need to take reference to all the ACOP I have shared with you early on. And it is important to update yourself to incorporate all this into the risk assessment and safer procedures. Implementing permitted works, right? Inspecting, maintaining plan for the cranes. Inspection to ensure lifting operation are carried out safely on site. Procedure for reporting defect, incident, taking necessary collective actions. So the role of appointed person under the SS 559 are clearly defined from A to I. So that actually broaden up the whole perspective. For the responsibility as a appointed person is very wide. It is not just one duty. It is overall planning, selection of crane, understanding all the details. So moving forward, we will see the AP should be given also necessary authority for the performance of all these duties. You can't just appoint somebody and that person do not have the authority to, for example, stop the operation when there is something which is very dangerous, And duty but not responsibilities may be delegated to another person where considered appropriate. So it is important as an appointed person, you have to be very clear of your duties. And if you need somebody to take over some of the responsibility, you have to make sure that you appointed the right person. They are competent to perform the task. So moving forward, I just want to share with you currently the SS559 is already reviewed for the last 6 to 7 years, I would say. And we have actually launched it for public consultations. So if you're aware, you can actually, but I believe the consultation deadline has been closed. Let's go to the next page. So the next page basically just to show you that this are the committee that this is a deadline. So the next page basically is to share with you that this deadline for 13 January 2022 has been elapsed. So which means most of the public comments has already reached the committee members and the Singapore Standards Enterprise. They will consolidate all this before they approved by all the various authority and get it published. We really hope the standard can be published by June this year, if possible, if not by end of this year. And if you notice, this standard consists of various parts. Part 1, this is on general modification adoption of ISO standard of 12480-1, 1997. The part 2 is the safe use and is a modified adoption of ISO 12480-3 2020 versions. And the part 3 is focusing on the inspections, right? So which means we have actually expanded the SS559 2010 versions to a new standard that consists of 3 parts: part 1, part 2, and part 3. So when you have a chance to get hold of standard, please remember there's 3 parts and read through and understand the requirement of the standards. So moving forward, where to attend this appointed person training course? So some of you may ask, okay, you have this appointed person stated very clearly in the SS559, where can I attend all these training courses? Currently, there are 2 places that are conducting these training courses locally. One, of course, is by the IES Academy. It's 5 days course for appointed person lifting operations. The subsequent training place will be the SHETC, 5-day appointed person training course lifting operation. Let's take a quick look at these contents and what they have been teaching and what has been covering for this appointed person. So looking through the 5 days course by for appointed person by IESA, you can notice that they have entry requirements. And this entry requirement stated that you need engineering degree or at least a local diploma with 1 to 3 years relevant experience. Why it is important to state that? Because all this lifting operation requires certain calculations. So if you do not understand some of the basic engineering trigonometries, sine, cosine, tangents, and calculation of the angles, you find that you may face a lot of challenges if you attend such a courses. And we look to the right-hand side of the program, day 1 and day 2, and it encompasses a lot of this ACOP and the regulations. Take a look at the day 1. They are covering the general workplace safety X, risk management regulation, work at height, construction, so and also the approved code of practice as well. So you can see the course is very extensive and very detailed. So look at the next page, day 3, day 4, and day 5. So it's total a 5-day course, and the last day will be a practical assessment. So the person will be given a chance to perform the role as an appointed person, as a lifting soup, rigger, and signaler, and to rig up certain loads. And you need to calculate the center of gravity, where is the working radius, operating radius, and make some calculation on the factor of safety, whether this selection of sling has been considered is appropriate for the use. The next page, you will find the trainer profile. The trainer basically consists trainer that involving in the Singapore Standard SS559 review. For example, myself, I'm the co-convener for this SS559. We have Engineer Sam, also a member of this review. We have Engineer Tan Ching Sing, which is the co-convener for this SS559. And we have trainer from Singapore Crane Society like Mr. Frankie. We have a trainer from JTC, which is Mr. Allen. We have a BCA trainer, Mr. Chiu Po Ing. So all these trainers are all very experienced and qualified to perform some of this lifting training. Next one. Next will be another training center called the SHATC. This SHATC was actually partially when it started, they have actually invited me for some consultations. And I was actually involved in teaching the first 1 to 2 batch. But later part, I was actually focusing more on the IES Academy training. But more or less, you can see their training syllabus and the trainers are quite similar. Let's look through quickly. Next page. Right, you can see how practical training has been carried out with a colorful photo to show you that various appointment has been appointed. Whether you are lifting soup, appointed person, rigger, signaler, you got to perform a different task. Next. And we have trainers coming from Ministry of Manpower's, ex-Ministry of Manpower, Engineer Teresa Liu's. We have also trainer coming from LTA, which is doing a voluntary service. We are grateful with this Engineer Liu that coming forward to do a voluntary service to share in terms of lifting operation in LTA, what kind of safety requirement you need to put it out. And the next one is Engineer Tang, which is already introduced to you. Engineer Sam, which is also training in IESA. And next is Engineer Jackie O, which is also the Singapore Standard Review Committees. And Mr. Balian Singh and Mr. Frankie. So looking ahead also of the program they are conducting, also they are doing a 5-day training program. Next page. So there is quite similarity between these two training centers, I would say. And I will say that it is important for you to go through some of this training program to make sure all this ACOP is clearly covered by all these training costs. Why? Because ACOP form are very important in performing your lifting plans. Next. So let's look quickly on the recent crane accident that happens recently. And it will based on the last year's statistic, June 2021. We know that last year is actually indeed a very challenging years because the last 2 to 3 years we have COVID, and when workers was a shortage and machinery was idling for a long time and workers constantly need to be chained. So you do not have workers that working in the same role for many months or many years. Constantly you have new workers working in a new task, same as lifting operations. You may have a very challenging situation to have a same lifting team operating using the same cranes. So the challenges of the construction is definitely very daunting, but I think with this we still able to uphold some of these important statistics. Let's go to the next page. So next page showing you that the last year you find that the statistics for January to June 2020 have gone up slightly from 0.9 to 1.1 and from 0.4 to 0.7. So this is a concern, and I also want to wish to share with all the stakeholders. We have to quickly look into all this ACOP and start to implement this ACOP to reduce all this fertility rate as low as reasonable practicable. Next. So basically the next page to show you that in all these different industry construction still concern. You can see from July 20 to December 2020 and January to June last year 2021, there's a slight increase, and in particular in construction, in also transportation as well. Next. Next is basically to share with you the number of 3-yearly average and some of this fatality rate. So you can see we have been maintaining quite a fair good record for the last few years, and this last year was a bit worried, things have went up. So we have to put in great effort together to bring this statistic down. Next page. Next page, you can see that recently, 19 February, there's this crane that collapsed in this Penjuru. Nobody was injured. As you know, when the crane that has collapsed, it's fortunate that the crane did not hit anyone on the ground. but it could have somebody passing by or a public that is passing by. So collapsing a crane is a very serious incident in Singapore. And if you notice, it is one of the reportable dangerous occurrence. Next page. And the dangerous occurrence next actually stated in the past few years has been dropping. From the earlier of 2017, we have 20 cases of dangerous occurrence, and it dropped all the way to last year as about 7 cases. So we hope the dangerous occurrence will continue to go down with the implementation of ACOP. Next. So this is the number of dangerous occurrence has been reported. So construction seems to be an upper trend. So we need to pay particular attention on the construction sectors. Next. So this is another recent incident that happened only last year, 11 December 2021. A worker was died after being crushed by a bundle of steel bars at the home team NS Bedok. So imagine lifting a bundle of rebar is equally also hazardous, especially you're living overhead. So you have to assess whether the kind of sling, whether you're using wire sling, you're using the chain sling, or you're using a webbing belts. Are you going to how are you going to leave it? You're going to use 2-legged, 3-legged, or 4-legged? Whether the factor of safety has been accounted for, and all this you need to calculate. So in the appointed person training course, you will be taught how to perform all this due diligence, how to select the different kind of chain sling, wire sling, webbing, and what kind of factor of safety you're looking at it, and what kind of angles, load factor you need to apply in order to live safely. Next. Right, so this is basically it's a very sad story. A worker has been killed by this bundle of rebar, and remember, we need all these workers as part of the workforce, and everyone is just part of the family members. So we need to take all this very seriously, and work closely together with the Ministry of Manpower's Workplace Safety and Health Council, and with the tripartite to bring all these statistics low. Next. So is it a mandatory for the industries to comply with this ACOP? Is it by law we have to implement ACOP? Next. ACOP is not legislation, as we know, and however, it is important that we actually look into all this. Why? Because it has went through extensive industry consultations. So an ACOP could also be used as a reference in legal prosecutions, right? To demonstrate whether the accused party involved in the workplace accident had implemented reasonably practicable measures. ACOP also may be cited in cases where parties are taken to task by the Ministry of Manpower for infringement found during the workplace safety inspection. So although this is not a legal requirement, but you know that there's illegal implications. So they can actually use it for reference in a legal prosecution. So it is important to implement ACOP. Next. So if you refer to this Workplace Safety and Health Act, Chapter 354 Alpha, Section 47. So it is said that where in any proceeding or the offense under any provision in this act, it is illegal, any person fail to comply with the duty to do something as far as is reasonable practicable, it shall be for the accused to prove that it was not reasonably practicable to do more than what was in fact done to satisfy that duty. There was no better practicable to do more than was in fact used to satisfy that duty. So in short, if you interpret Section 47, you have to implement ACOP. Why? Because if you have not implemented ACOP, then you have to explain, point number A and B, which is you will be faced in a very difficult situations in a sense. Next. So with that, I concluded my speech, and like what I say, we really need to move towards a Vision Zero, and ACOP is a very important tool for us to use it to implement into our safety and health management system, our risk assessment, our safety procedures, and of course in our lifting plan as well. With this, I hope I have give you some ideas about this appointed person, the importance of appointed person, and hopefully you are keen to start to send some of your engineers, your workplace safety health officers to attend some of these courses. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Jason. I think that was very insightful indeed. Yes, let's hope that our accidents rate, especially in Singapore and everywhere else in any of our region, that our accident rate will continue to drop. Now, we are taking questions for Mr. Jason O. If you have any questions, please feel free to type in your question on the comments wherever you are watching from. So I think there is one Facebook user who's asking this question. Raymond,
Sure.
are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So,
Okay.
unfortunately, due to some privacy data, Facebook is not sharing the information of the user to StreamYard, which is the platform we are using. So we can only see Facebook user. But for YouTube, those who have logged in, we can see your ID. Thank you so much. Right. For this person who have asked, has there been any study to identify what were the main causes of accident involving CR, which I believe is crane?
Yes, I thanks for the question. And indeed, if you refer to the Workplace Safety and Health Council website, they have these case studies on the cranes. And the Ministry of Manpower has been putting great effort together with the Workplace Safety and Health Council and also Workplace Safety Health Institute, coming out with these case studies on the cause of the cranes accidents, whether it's due to the bone failure, collapse of crane, lifting wires giving way, and things like that. They have this detailed report in the MOM website and also Workplace Safety and Health Council's website. You can actually download it, and if you, the recent one will be the collapse of these laughing cranes, and it is all is as a learning report. It is also published in the MOM website and the Workplace Safety and Health Council website. So we really thanks the Ministry of Manpower and Workplace Safety and Council, together with the Workplace Safety and Institute, for taking the great effort to produce all these learning reports and the case studies. Please assess and download all these informations. I think it is very useful.
Yes, definitely. Like what you say, crane are really huge, and once it topple, it's going to have huge damage either on the property and is even on the injuries of humans. So definitely that's a bigger concern. And is there any other question that we can have for Jason? If not, I have one.
Yeah, just now the question came. Sorry, just now the question came from Mr. Salahuddin Din. So on
Okay.
Facebook.
Yes.
So if you have if we answer your question correctly, please do let us know. If you have further questions, please do also type in the comment wherever you are watching from.
Right.
All right, Raymond, go ahead with your question.
Sure. So, Jason, my question to you is: does the standards that you have mentioned on lifting, does it apply to lorry crane lifting or any other lifting besides the coral crane or mobile crane? I mean, does it applies to all type of lifting of materials?
If you're referring to the a person or appointed person, right? So I believe you're referring to the appointed person.
I'm
or
talking
the
about
lift.
the standard first. The standard
Oh, the
first,
standard.
and after
Okay.
that.
This standard SS559 only focus on the tower cranes, right? SS559 focus only on the tower crane. So tower crane, there are various types of tower crane. They have this saddle crane, flat top. They have a laughing tower cranes. It's all mentioned inside this code of practice. If you're referring to lorry crane, it's more on the mobile crane. So the Singapore standard SS536 code of practice for safe use of mobile crane will be incorporating some of this lorry crane, gantry crane, and some of these cranes details. But like I say, now it's still under the review. So I'm not sure that how detailed some of this, whether chloro crane will be included or mobile, only the mobile or chloro is still in the preliminary stage. And I believe all liftings are important, whether is it using a lorry crane, mobile crane, or chloro crane. Some fundamental of lifting calculation will need to be assessed and also need to be calculated. And this appointed person will be tasked to do all these tasks. So he will be able to calculate all the forces, the loading, the factor of safety, what kind of lifting gear to be selected. in the past, as we know that we all leave it to the lifting supervisors.
All right.
Lifting supervisor, they are not at that level calculation on the forces of the lifting gears. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Jason. While we are talking, or while we are replying, we have at least 3 to 4 questions coming in. So the next one is by Sky Moria. Is LEEA appointed person recognized in Singapore?
Like I say, I am not the authority to say whether such and this and recognized or not. But like I say, ACOP is not a legal requirement yet. So in times to come, we are not sure whether this ACOP will be upgraded to regulations. And if yes, by then, the Ministry of Manpower will come out certain criteria, certain guidelines, whether certain courses is recognized or not. Or you need to take certain exam to be competent to be registered as a lifting engineers or appointed person. I think we are still in the stage of grooming this group of people. But looking in other training courses, I think they are equally also good courses. But it is important that if today you are operating in Singapore, so it is important you attend a course that course reference to the local ACOP and local rule and regulations. You will be in a better position to adopt and apply this crane information. Imagine if you attend some other training courses, they may not incorporate some of this local regulation and the ACOP. So, but of course, they are good courses. I have no doubt about it. But like I say, if you got a choice and you are really operating in Singapore, then you should actually start to apply, look for a training course that's locally available. Yeah, unless you're operating in international market, then of course LEA will be a better platform. Why? Because they're not just they're operating in the worldwide. And worldwide, there are many countries recognizing LEA certificates and requirements. So in that instant, then you may wish to attend courses that's conducted overseas. Yeah.
All right, thank you. And next we have Darren Leong, who's from Hong Kong. I know him personally, and he's asking, do you have any exact figure for crane collapse in DO? What that this DO? Is there a
Okay, in short, I don't have.
Okay.
I got to be very frank. I don't have the exact number of crane collapse, and some of this data, like I say, is also very sensitive. Some are being currently doing investigations, and the Ministry of Manpower will be a better position to share with you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
usually,
I think council do have to issue bulletin out when there are such incident. It's only for individual to collate all this. I personally collate most of, if not all, of the mobile elevating work platform incident. Okay, so next we have Jimmy Go CS. Hi, can we check if the appointed person can be enhanced to include gantry crane installation or dismantle, as some gantry crane can be very massive as well?
Thanks for the question, Jimmy. If you look through the 5-day training course in IESA and also the SHETC, both have included gantry crane as one of the requirements. Gantry crane, if you refer to Singapore Standard SS497, it is one of the ACOP. So this 5-day appointed person actually went through all these requirements. So he actually shared with you the lorry crane requirement, the gantry crane requirement, the crawler crane, the mobile crane, the tower crane, all type of crane. Only crane that is not covered is those crane that is doing the offshore floating cranes is not covered in this course. Other than that, most of the crane has been covered in this appointed person training course. Yeah.
All right, thank you. And I must say hi to Jimmy as well. Jimmy is, I realized that I recognize his photo and know him as well. Okay, I think we have to take the last question for Jason. I'm so sorry. There's a next speaker up. The last question will be from Simurat Paul. If someone wants to do this course from other than Singapore, how it will work and what cost of this training?
Good. Thanks for the questions. And like what I say, all these training course, it can be tailored to the company requirement. We can also do arrangement and to fly the trainer over to certain part of the country. For example, I myself, I has been invited by by some of the company in Malaysia, in Thailand. I have conducted quite a fair bit of training in Malaysia and Thailand to share some of the safety aspect. I was even invited to perform a safety audit in one of the projects in Thailand, which is a twin tower of 73 stories. So it can be arranged. Just drop me an email. You will find that if you have certain requirements, we can always make some arrangement. Thanks, yeah.
All right, thank you. Sorry, I think I really need to show this question as well. I think it could be quite a pressing question from Daniel P. And for lifting using mobile crane, is there any guideline on the safety factor to be at least 1.2? Yeah.
I think if you refer to Singapore standard SS536, right, there's a fair bit of requirement and factor of safety has been also providing certain guidelines. And of course, understanding the requirement of factor of safety, important to understand what kind of factor safety you are referring. There are so many kind of factor of safety. We are talking about the factor of safety for the crane capacities, or you're talking about a factor of safety, we're talking about lifting gear factor of safety, or the lifting gears accessory factor of safety. So there are different kind of factor of safety. So in general, the Singapore standard SS536 does provide certain guidelines on the factor of safety. You can actually refer that. That guideline came out in 2008 and currently is under review, but it's still relevant until the new standard has been set in. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much for your time, Jason, and thank you so much for sending in your question. Appreciate and get the webinar.
Thank you,
really
Workplace
going.
Safety and Health Asia for the invitation. Yeah, thank you, Raymond.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
And also,
Thank you,
Jason,
Amanda.
if you see any questions in the comment later, you want to clarify with them, you can do so. Yeah. But let me just move on with our next speaker. Let me introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is Miss Louise Yu. She is the Asia Pacific Product Marketing Manager for Hearing and Eye, Head and Face Protection for Honeywell Personal Protective Equipment. Louise has 15 years of progressive working experience in product marketing, channel development, and business development across diverse international business environments. Prior to joining Honeywell, she worked at Robert Bosch Southeast Asia for 10 years. Now, in her free time, Louise enjoys growing herbs and refining her culinary skills. I'll be waiting for that testing to begin. But yes, Louise, if you are here, can we see you? Can we hear you?
I'm here.
Hi, Louise.
Sorry,
Hi.
I forgot to turn on my video.
No
And,
problem. We see you. Yeah, we
yeah.
see you now.
Thank you for a very nice introduction, Amanda. So
No
I shall start. Okay.
Yeah. Do you have your screen
Can I
ready?
check? Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we are able to see your screen.
Okay,
Now,
that's
over to you,
cool.
Louise.
All right, thank
All right.
you.
Bye.
Hi everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share some of my knowledge in hearing protection, and also sharing with you a little bit of like Honeywell hearing protection product. So my name is Louise Yu, as Amanda introduced. I'm product managers for Honeywell hearing, head, eye, and face protection in APAC-I region. So today I'm going to talk about noise-induced hearing loss and the consequences, and of course some of the Honeywell products. So I believe this session will be much lighter after I seen Jason's presentation. So it'll be less technical, and so along the way, if you have any questions, just put in the chat box, and I'll try to answer them later. Okay. So I'll start. So this is the agenda for today. So as mentioned, I'll touch on noise-induced hearing loss, and we'll talk about how loud is too loud when it comes to the hazardous noise in the industry, and I'll touch on like multiple use earplug and passive earmuff that Honeywell is offering. And actually, very last minute, I actually added one topic, which is the three no's of why workers don't like to wear hearing protection. All right, I didn't include that here, so I'll go to next slide. So we'll start with a video that show hearing conservation. So this video, before we start, just a reminder. So hearing protection should be worn when, not only for the workers who actually work at the job function where there are high noise exposure, but also for the people around him, right? Okay, so we shall start.
Exposure to one extremely high impulse sound can cause severe damage to the ears, resulting in permanently reduced hearing ability and tinnitus. Noise-induced hearing loss is the most common permanent injury in the world, and may also come as a result of exposure to loud noise over time.
I don't understand. Didn't he see you standing there?
Dad, can it take to practice?
Do you mind?
John, is it really that bad? Maybe we should see somebody.
I'll be fine in the morning. I'll be fine in the morning.
Alright.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Isabel. Happy birthday to you.
A noise-induced hearing loss is irreparable and will dramatically affect the quality of your life.
Okay?
The World Health Organization defines tinnitus as the third most serious, non-deadly medical condition for humans.
Oh, I usually like him. I have a special errand.
I'm sorry.
I'm sending you to the hospital. Okay.
Noise-induced hearing loss is 100% preventable. However, once acquired, it is permanent and irreversible. Use of proper hearing protection is critical and will also prevent further deterioration. Make sure that your workers get sufficient training in the proper use of their hearing protection. Take care of your hearing.
Okay, back to me. So noise-induced hearing loss, as you can see in the video, it is actually the type of sensory nerve exposure to noise that can cause by either repeated exposure or over the long period of time, or just one traumatic event such as an explosion, and the person will actually lost the hearing. All right. So we can use 4 Ps to describe noise-induced hearing loss. So noise-induced hearing loss is usually painless, and it is progressive. So it tends to get worse over the time, and it is not noticeable until the damage is quite intensive. All right. And once it happens, it is permanent. So there's no cure. So meanings once a person get noise-induced hearing loss, the person have to live with it for the rest of the life. And of course, the good news is it is completely preventable. All right. So what are the consequences of noise-induced hearing loss? So there are many negative effects. The obvious one would be difficulty in communication. And then, of course, that will lead to a lot of frustration, and later will lead to isolation. And that will also increase the safety risk as well. Imagine a person is not able to hear a warning alarm and not aware of any hazard in the environment where the person works. So it is actually their safety is at risk. Yeah. So people with hearing loss may have a hard time finding employment as well, may have difficulty performing certain tasks if they cannot communicate. So hearing loss also cause fatigue because hearing become harder. Yeah, you require more effort to actually try to listen to people around you. So living in hearing loss is associated with depression and anxiety as well. So it may also cause financial burden. Imagine the hearing aid is actually not cheap, and so with hearing aid, it doesn't mean that the person who has hearing loss will actually recover their hearing performance, but actually it is more of it, you use the hearing aid to actually work with what is left. Yeah. So tinnitus is one of the consequences of noise exposure. So which will lead to hearing loss. What is tinnitus? It is a ringing in the ear, and some people say buzzing, some humming, and it do happen to us from time to time, right? So for those people who experience hearing loss, who might have to live with this, for like permanently. Yeah, so these are some of the things that we want to prevent by protecting our hearing, and of course hearing of others as well. Okay, so we'll go on to talking about how loud is too loud. This pictures or the image actually showing the thumbs of rules of thumb of if in the environment where you face loud noises, and this will give you some indication on how loud is too loud, or are you in the hazardous environment. uh, you know yeah, so one rule of thumbs is if you're standing an arm length away from somebody in any environment and you have to raise your voice to be heard by the other person, then the noise is probably hazardous. Yeah. So the chart is showing the noise level of common sound which we'll hear in all sort of environment. Yeah, this is just a few of them. And so to give you an idea of are you at the same side, safe side or harmful? All right. So for example, whispering is about 30 dB, and then old hair dryer could go up to 90 dB, which is considered loud and also hazardous. All right. So you want to keep in mind that the louder the sound is, the lesser time you should spend in one environment. Okay. So I understand that there are landscaping participants here as well, and I know and most of us would think that landscaping is a very nice environment, serene and greenery, and there will not be any noise hazards happening there. But I can tell you there are some equipment which we are using during landscaping. For example, lawn mower, the noise could go up to 100 or 110. All right. Yep. So this is just one of the sharing that I have is I know most of us don't have audiometer unless you are really visiting a lot of the industrial end user. And how do we, let's say if you don't have experience on how loud is the noises around you, so you can simply download an apps. There are lots of apps which start with like a decibel meters, one of them that I like because it actually show the average noise around you. So I'm showing example here is like one of the noise level that I take during one of my flights, not very long haul flight, small flight full of passenger, and the noise could actually dB could go up to 106 dB. So for those who are interested, search for those apps, try it out. Especially if you're not wearing hearing protection today, and probably you're dealing with high noise, working environment. So this is something that you could do just to test it out to see if you are in the, you're at risk. Yeah. So this is the slide that I put in very last minute. And so there are 3 no's of, wearing hearing protection. Yeah, especially in Asia. The awareness is not very high. And also, of course, in most of the countries in Southeast Asia, the regulation is also not that strict, right? So there are 3 no's. One of the no is, noise doesn't affect me. All right, if you think back on the video and the hearing conservation that I shared with you just now, yeah, it doesn't affect anyone. If it's too loud, probably people can't see that there's any side effect, any hurdles to them. So they would think it doesn't affect me, so I don't have to wear any hearing protection, even though the person is in the environment where the noise level is beyond 95 dB. All right. So the solution would be like provide workers with some hard facts, showing them that their person, because all the workers will have to go through like a audiogram, right? So show them their audiogram result if you can, and just compare, showing them the audiogram result of the people who are having hearing loss. Yeah, this will show them that this if you don't take care of your hearing today, eventually you'll become like what happened to the hearing loss guy. So why people doesn't feel that it's necessary to actually wear hearing protection is because of the injury is actually progressive, and it may not noticeable until it's too late, right? So I feel that it is important to share the hard facts with the workers, show them the audiogram result, or maybe at the sites having some educational tools around the workplace to actually raise awareness on the importance of hearing protection. Yeah. So hearing protection is something that the workers simply ignore. Okay. So the second no is, that doesn't fit me or make it harder for me to do my job. All right. So an earplug or earmuff are something workers might have to wear throughout their working days. So they have to fit properly, right? If the hearing protector is not, wearing properly, then it defeats the purpose. So of course, the workers, will always tend to have the rejection and objection on they just don't feel comfortable wearing it. So the solution that we could probably offer is actually to give the workers with some options which actually fit their individual needs. Yeah. So, for example, there are workers who prefer to wear an earplug, which is one-time use, so that they change it every day. So there are workers who prefer to have something that they can wash on their own. Then we have like reusable earplug as an options. Yeah. So there are a wide range of hearing protection products which are available. So every worker should have, should be given an options on, the kind of hearing protection which is suitable for them. Yeah, the third no is, I think, is procrastination. Like I will deal with it later. Anyway, I'm not bleeding. I didn't break my arms or anything, so let me deal with it later. It's fine. I'll just work as it is, right? So solution would be via hearing conservation with like audio demonstration. That would be good. And the result will turn up to be quite surprising if there's an audio demonstration to actually showing the person how does people who has noise-induced hearing loss hear the sound, So normally people, most of us would think, right, hearing loss is related to the volume, but actually it is not. All right, it is related to like the effect is on the clarity of the words spoken. So that was demonstrated in the video as well. So in our last sharing, we also talk about some of you are here, I believe, and we talk about like warm weather conditions. Where workers will have to wear so many protective equipment under warm weather conditions. So this is also one of the reasons that many Asian, especially ASEAN workers, they tend to try to wear less, when it comes to protection. So this is the area where, the heat stress is also a hazard to workers as well, right? So they feel hot, they want to wear less, and so hearing protection is potentially one of the protection that they actually ignore or try not to wear. Yep. So this is the three no's to wearing hearing protection that I prepare for you guys today. If you have any input or anything that you wish to bring up for a discussion, let's do it. So I will move on to introducing you to two Honeywell hearing protection equipment, all right, products. So the first one is the multiple use earplug, we call it Smart Fit. We name it Smart Fit. So Smart Fit has a very unique material. It is a reusable earplug. It has a conforming material technology that make of TPE. So it has what is so good is actually warm to body temperature. Yeah. So when we talk about the three no's of workers' objection to actually wearing hearing protection, so TPE material come in handy because it warm according to body temperature. So it has, the longer the worker wear, the better it feel. Yeah, because the contour of the earplug, as you can see, that's why I call it individual fit. It will actually shape according to the ear canal of individual. All right. So that's why I call it the longer you wear, the better you feel. Okay. So of course, there are a few safety features such as, we have a comfortable seal, the triple flat fin seal, to actually give to provide easy insertion and also deliver a more personalized contact inside the ear for better seal and also block the noise. And the flange handle, this is for easy removal and insert. And smart fit is washable and reusable. All right. So it comes in carry case that the workers can actually keep after wash, and then they can use it whenever they need it. Okay, so I move on to one of my favorite product, which is the passive earmuff VS100. So VS100 was designed or engineered based on a lot of the three no's objection from workers, from the workers around the world. And so with that, we engineered to make it having a lighter weight. All right. So how do we achieve that is by having the cushion headband. And then the best or the highest contributors will be the internal bevel design. The picture here is showing the inside of the ear cup. Instead of having a thick ear cup wall, so we are having internal bevel design in there. And how it works is it actually works as a sound stabilizer, actually to optimize the noise attenuation. Yeah. And then another one would be the airflow control technology. So if you look at this cushion that I should bring out the pointer. Yeah, the cushion here, there's a tiny hole on the cushion. So it actually managed the airflow of the air in and out of the ear cushion. It acts as a shock absorber, we call it. All right. So meanings once the user wear the air will actually slowly seep through the tiny holes, and then make the ear muff actually seated nicely around the ears. Yeah. So we also introduce the memory foam cushion. Yeah. So basically to reduce the pressure on the head. Yeah, when wearing the ear muff. Yeah. And then there is one good improvement, remarkable improvement we make is actually the headband adjustability. So it is more versatile, so that it actually you can actually adjust the headband, and then you can so that the ear muff, the cup, will actually seated nicely around the ears. And this is good, especially for people who has larger ears or people who are wearing a hearing aid. Yeah. Now, of course, it has a robust construction. The cushion is very resilient, and it can last up to 12 months by reducing crack and also deformity. And of course, the ABS molded ear cup, it has a hot stamping surface, and so it can withstand very oily, heavy work environment, and it can withstand frequent cleaning as well. Yeah. So VS100 come in different models, headband, folded version, and also behind the neck, and the helmet version as well. Yeah, so it can be fitted into various environment and industry. All right. For example, for guys who are in landscaping, they tend to put on a cap and all that. We have a version which is behind the neck. This model actually fitted into the environment where people has to wear something, to protect themselves, other protective equipment. And then the folded version are pretty good for the environment where people going in and out of a noisy environment. So they can actually take it off, fold it, and actually keep in a pocket or a bag. Yeah. So that is all for me for this session. Amanda, over to you.
Right. Thank you, Louise. And I just want to quickly highlight here. I think it's a very good presentation because of the video, especially in the beginning. I've watched it before, but every time I watch it, I just get reminded on how important my ears are to me. Right. And before we start the Q&A, I will pull in Raymond as well to join us here. Hi, Raymond. And then I would just like to hear from the audience that are watching us from YouTube and Facebook. Just write in the comment, right? If you use, type in the comment yes if you use earmuffs at your workplace. Yeah, just type in the comment yes, we want to see you, because then we want to also applaud you for
Yeah.
using earmuffs, like using hearing protection at your work.
Maybe can I add, Amanda? Maybe yes, and then you can put earplug, yes,
Oh, earplug.
earmuff, or anything. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so maybe if you
Nice.
use earplugs, you use yes. You write yes and then earplugs. If you use earmuffs, yes and then earmuffs. So we want to just see you. Hi, Yen Yong from
Yes.
YouTube.
Yen Yong.
Good job protecting your ears.
Yes. And are you using earmuff or earplug? Yen Yong?
Yeah, let us know. Let us know. Earplugs.
Okay. Nice.
Horton. Thanks, Yen Yong. Anybody else who uses earmuffs, earplugs at your workplaces?
That's right.
Yes.
Share with us. Let us know what which type you use, and I promise you, you will be in for a surprise. All right. Okay. Let us start the question. Q&A. Any question for Luis? And once again, thanks, Luis, for sharing. The video, once again, put the message well across, and it holds very close to our heart, especially seeing how the man go home and how he reacts with the family and the children. All this definitely going to be close to my heart as a father. Right. Any question do we have? If not, we will have the question for Luis. Yes. You mentioned about the passive ear muffler is going to be so much not so warm. I still remember when back in my police days, I was a regular police, and in a shooting range, we were always using ear muffler. And I remember after that, that's the first time I can feel my ears, dripping with sweat. That's true. Back maybe I think it should be back 20 years ago. The material wasn't that good. I'm really glad that this material is out. And when hearing is always sounds so nice, you tell us so much beautiful things about your products. Maybe can I ask from the audience, would any one of you would like to try out this ear muffler that Luis have mentioned? If yes, can you just type yes and send it over so that we have more yes, so that we can pressurize a bit, give some pressure to Luis so that she will maybe say yes to us.
Look at this.
That she's gonna give us one for our lucky winner, our lucky audience here, that we get to try out the good things about what she said about this earplug. But of course, having said that, of course, when we receive something good in return, we need to do something. But I think it's fair to be Honeywell. Fair to Honeywell. I'm sure it's good that to receive some of your feedback, even photograph of you using it, and how much you like it or not. Share this with us. I think this will be very valuable.
Yeah, you see
we
there.
have how many yes? We have 1 yes from Quack, Vincent Quack. We have Yan Yong. We have Angela Liam. Yes, but we have Kenneth. We have Johan, Di Johan, we have that. Oh, okay, come on. Is it good
Hey,
enough?
come on. Yeah, not good
Are you
enough.
motivated
Raymond.
Not
to
good
come up
enough,
with a free one ear muffler for us? I mean, for one of our lucky audience to try out.
Yeah, you see, there's this one
Yes.
comment. Those noise cancellation earpieces, are they any good? Or they challenge you to show them whether is there any good. SW99.
All right. Yes, okay. I guess we have a lot of years. I think at least 20, 30 over here right now.
Yeah.
So can I officially ask Louis, can we have one pair to be sent out to our audience to let them try out what you have said?
Yeah, I would love to, but looking at the feedback of yes, right? I wish to see more.
All right, come
I
on.
wish to see more.
We need to get more.
Hey,
Yeah.
guys, up the numbers.
And maybe she would say not only one piece, she say maybe 5 pieces. Huh?
Yeah,
So
maybe more.
yeah,
Wow.
let
Yeah,
encourage.
I would like to offer more.
All right.
So to share with the industry, the participants here,
Yeah, we have yes.
to actually have a chance to actually try out this fantastic product. And of course, I also saw that many participants are actually using earplug. So maybe it is time for you to give it a try. Yeah.
Yeah,
in the mouth.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So feel it,
Yep.
and it's good that if Louis is really kind enough to let us have 1 or maybe 5 pieces, and if
Maybe
you are the
10.
lucky one who get it, and please, we definitely want feedback from you, a picture of you, even videoing yourself. Nowadays everyone is a director with TikTok.
Yeah.
I have seen so much self-take video on TikTok, and yeah, so it will be very valuable if you have received. If you are the lucky one, we'll definitely look forward for that. And now let's go back to Louise. Is she happy with all the yes that we are receiving?
Let me see. I guess
Yeah,
I
give
think we
her
still-
more encouragement so that she goes 5 or
Yeah,
more,
we need
Darren.
more yes.
Yeah. 5 or more.
Yeah,
Wow,
let's
from 0 to 1 and now to 5 or more. Okay.
yes. So it will be 5 or more, and yeah, it will definitely be 5 or more, Darren.
Wow. So it's a yes from Honeywell.
Okay,
yes from
so
you, Louis.
is it a yes from
Yes.
Louis? So 5 is 5 okay? I'm not going to be greedy. Yeah. Is 5 okay?
Yeah,
I think 5
it's
is quite
good.
greedy.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect.
Is that a yes? Is that a yes?
Yes, it's a
Okay,
yes.
great. All right,
Yeah.
we made it.
We made it, guys. Thank you for all
Okay,
your
so
yeses.
is there any restriction? Where do we send it to? Because we have quite a wide audience. Is there any territory? Is it ASEAN and Australia and New Zealand's area, or is that the area that you need to specify? ASEAN region.
Can we discuss this later offline?
Okay, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
So
Because
anyway,
I need to check with my colleague.
okay, no
who will
worries,
actually
no
help me
worries.
to
So
arrange
as long
this.
as we can secure 5, I'm a very happy man today. All right.
Yeah,
So
we are.
Amanda,
we
can
got
you
it.
send out the link, or have we sent out the link for people to register
as we was
their interest?
as we were speaking, I've already come up with the form for you to win this
Wonderful.
giveaway. So if you are looking at YouTube, the link is in your comments. You can see it now and click on it and give us your details. We will view your application, your submission, and then we will see if you are the lucky winner. And those of you who are on Facebook, I believe my colleague also has already sent the link in the comments. So please do take a look at the form, fill it in. It's your entry to win this giveaway, okay? Now, while they are doing that, I think, Raymond, we have a few questions come in.
Yeah,
that came in.
I'm reading that.
Yeah, in between the yeses, right? I saw
Yes.
Oh yes, now I saw it. Hi, Louis. What is the frequency of for the workers to conduct audiometric tests if they are exposed to noisy environment?
Hold on. Frequency for workers. Oh, So for this question, I'm sorry, I'm not the audiologist. I will have to get back to you. Yeah,
Yes.
frequency of workers conduct the
Sure.
metric.
So, Faisal,
Faisal,
do write
yeah.
to us at contact@WSH
Yep.
Asia so that we can get contact with you after Louis have find out the answer for you. All right. So send an email to us at contact@wshasia.com and we will get the answer to your question from Louis once she's done. All right. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Is there any more question? I don't think so, right?
There is one more, I think.
Sorry, one more.
If you use, from Darren, one more from Darren.
Darren, yeah.
Darren,
If we use both earplug and ear muff, how should we calculate the noise reduction ratio?
Yes. So, Darren, there's no proper guideline on calculating the noise reduction ratio. So normally, if you double up the hearing protection, it will give you a maximum another plus 5 dBA. Yeah. So the best way is to have like a fit test to ensure that.
All right. I guess that's the question. I mean, that's the answer to Darren.
Yep.
Great. Thank you so much, Luis. And for those who are really interested, please do remember to fill in the form. And let's hope for the next two speakers that's left, is there anything we can squeeze out from them? No, just joking. If not, we are scaring away all our speakers. All right, back to you, Amanda.
Yeah.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much, Louis.
Thank you, Raymond. Thanks,
Appreciate
Louise.
that.
Right. As we talk, I think all of you are very busy preparing for your giveaway. So and there are some questions in YouTube. If Louise would like to take it, she can take it offline as well with you, Muhammad Afif. I think you have posted a question. We will send it to you, the reply shortly. Now, without further ado, moving on to our next speaker. Bear with us, guys. We have two more speakers to go, and I believe you will be having more surprises after this as well. Now, let me introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is Mr. Terence Goh. Terence has more than 12 years of working experience in the truck-mounted cranes industry. He is experienced with the workings and design as well as the safety challenges of using truck crane in the Singapore industry. He has presented and reviewed the usage of European safety norm EN 12999 2011 for truck-mounted cranes to MOM and WSHC. He was a member of the National Crane Safety Task Force, contributing his experience in truck-mounted crane usage as a specialist vendor, contributing his views and comments in development of the WSHC Lorry Crane Safety Usage Handbook. Now, Mr. Goh is currently the area manager for PM Oil and Steel Asia, responsible in overseeing Asia business for both PM Cranes and oil and steel area platforms. He is also the company owner of Sinmec, which is one of the importers of Italian electronic control and power system brand like Fibercom, OMFB, and VBR. Here to talk to us about understanding the technology of knuckle boom crane in developing sound risk assessments and safe work procedures. Mr. Terence Goh, are you in the room? Yeah, let me look for Terence. Hi, Terence. I saw you.
Hi. Good afternoon, Amanda. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you.
All right, over to you if you're ready.
Yeah, I would share my presentation. Okay. Can everyone see my presentation?
Yes, I believe they can now. All right, over to you, Terence.
Yeah, thanks, Amanda, again for giving me this opportunity to do this presentation and to share with you, with everyone, the technology of knuckle boom cranes in this in all the different industries. Yeah, I mean, this presentation will streamline to people who wants to be familiar with what is knuckle boom crane, what is a knuckle boom crane, and also in the area where we are presenting now, I mean, especially in Singapore, Malaysia, and Hong Kong, this machine or this crane is not something new. Yeah, it has been around for quite a number of years, and if you look around, you will see them supporting your operation, your lifting operation or material handling operation in the various industry that you are in. Okay. So today I will just cover a bit of what is a knuckle boom crane. I mean, before we go into the technology, and for those people who is not familiar with the crane, I will go and touch a bit on what it is, and what is used for generally, and what are the technology that are now found in such a machine, and of course, coming back to what is the safety features that are found also on this machine to ensure safe usage, and also if these features are not available or not used in these machines currently, what will be the implication? And of course, in connection to our Ministry of Manpower and also to WHSH committee on usage of the safe usage of lorry cranes, what is the connection between to this product? Okay, let's start. What is a knuckle boom crane? Basically, a knuckle boom crane, if you see by definition, is basically a crane, a truck-mounted crane, basically mounted on the truck. Yeah, with working sections that consist of rotating cantilever and articulated section. Yeah, I will show you some photos and how it looks like down the presentation. And basically, the machine is driven either by hydraulically, or in some instance, the more modern ones, you can also find them being driven electrically. Yeah, and most importantly, the truck-mounted cranes, they are basically supported by outriggers, or basically also stabilizers, to stabilize the platform, which is the truck, and so that you can maximize the usage of this lifting capacity of the crane. Okay, this is how a typical knuckle boom crane, or in local jargon in Singapore or Malaysia, we always call it the lorry crane. So this is a more complicated version of a knuckle boom crane mounted on a typical truck. Okay, who are they? I mean, as I mentioned, this knuckle boom crane, or this product is not a very new technology. Yeah, in fact, if you look at history, this hydraulic truck mounted crane is actually a kind of stated that it was invented somewhere in 1947. Yeah, and the father of this product, or this machine, is actually a brand from Sweden, yeah, which is called Hiab. So after 1947, subsequently many brands, many companies actually started to come on board. They developed their own designs. They actually serve the markets and provided the market with alternative to the Hiab cranes. Yeah, so you can see that brands like PM, Tadano, Unique, Halfinger, Fassi, Kopma, Alpha eventually comes into the scene, starting from 1947 towards 1965. And if you look at all these brands in totality, they are encompassing about 80% of the supply to the global market. Before we go into the product itself, or go into the machine itself, one of the important aspects is actually the production process of this machine. And for all brands indicated in the previous slide, goes through these four main process. Yeah, basically the machine born in the R&D department in specific to a specific application. And generally the R&D timeline or the period that is spent in doing the research and development is about close to 1 to 2 years. Yeah, then thereafter they build a sample where they do prototyping and life cycle testing to ensure that what they design and what the machine that they design and the features that they put into the machine is tested, yeah, to the satisfaction of the engineers. Then after that, you will move into production where it starts to produce in mass in according to specific requirements of the customers. And the machines are put through tests before this delivery to the customers. Okay, if you look at this slide, you can see that this is a typical application of the knuckle boom crane or the lorry crane. Yeah, basically it's to move or material handling of bulky items and also objects to load onto the truck for the transportation purpose. Yeah, in this case, this slide shows you lifting in shorter distances, or basically just to load and unload of the items. This is another slide shows you the lifting job of the crane, but in this case, longer distances where you actually attach another smaller crane we call a fly jib, where you actually extend the articulation capability of the crane, and you actually can extend far outreach. Some cranes can even go up to more than 50 meters. Okay, I mean, in addition, this crane can work with other accessories. For the landscaping industry in Singapore in particular, for those people who are working in the landscaping industry will find this photo very familiar, because in Singapore, this is how we do our landscaping tree trimming job on knuckle boom cranes. So basically, you can fit on a workman basket and work as a tree trimming cutting tool, yeah, with the crane. For some other application, there are many special applications that can be done with this crane. Yeah, some of them are basically used as support equipment. You can see on the left side for waste handling. Yeah, on the right side, you can see as a rescue crane on a fire brigade truck. And this, you can see them also on recovery vehicles, recovery trucks that help assist lifting of damaged vehicles, motorbikes, or equipment that requires to be lifted out of their danger zone, or lifting out in order to recover the vehicle. Yeah. So basically, you can see that this crane is actually what I always like to use the jargon, more than just a crane. Yeah, it's a very versatile machine where you can actually fit accessories or attachment to it, and it actually becomes the equipment. Yeah, so in that context, basically this machine is very versatile, and it actually is found in many different industries worldwide. Okay, after knowing what they are, let's go into the technology part of the knuckle boom cranes. Before we go into the technology part, this is how actually a knuckle boom crane looks like when it's not installed on the truck. So it's an independent equipment, but it is not a equipment or machine that can exist by itself. It requires to be mounted on a platform. In this case, we are talking about a truck. Yeah. So this hydraulic machine is actually also consists is actually made out of 4 different elements or 4 different systems, I call it. Yeah, for the first system is the structure itself. The second is the powering element, which is the hydraulic power that is driving the machine. Then we need a control element where the control portion of the crane actually controls and moves the crane in a very precise manner so that you can actually control it properly. Then lastly, the more important part, where when you actually get the machine to move, you want it to be safe. You want to protect the operator, you want to protect the equipment, you want to protect the ability to be using the machine in a safe environment. That's where we actually put in safety features into the hydraulic machine in order to control or restrict its movement to ensure safety operation of the equipment. Here we go to the structure design. From technology point of view, the evolution of the structure, the hydraulic extension boom of the crane. Yeah, you can see that basically the demand of the extension boom is to ensure that it's as stiff, as strong as possible. So there are a requirement of continuously improving the crane to be stronger, to be longer, and to be faster. So you can see in the typical industry norms of improving product improvement from the left to the right side. Yeah, you can see typically the original design, what we call a 6-sided design. Yeah, then eventually manufacturers actually enhance the strength of the cross section of the crane to a more like a orthogonal, which is an 8-sided design. And the latest development, they even actually so-called enhance it to what we call a teardrop design. And all this improvement actually allows the crane to be longer, to move faster, and also to lift higher loads and heavier loads to a higher or longer distance. Yeah. And all these are captured and incorporated into what we call a load capacity diagram. Yeah, the people who are working on these cranes should be very familiar with this chart, no matter from which manufacturer. Basically, the layout and the information provided to the operator is the same, no matter which manufacturer it comes from. So basically, this load chart tells you the lifting capacity versus the outreach at the most powerful position of the crane. And one of the key features that in recent years incorporated into more modern cranes are what we call the linkage system. And this linkage system actually helps us to ensure a smooth lifting capability, a lifting curve. As you can see, we compare the top diagram on your right to the bottom diagram with and without the linkage system. You can see on the load chart that the one with the linkage system, you can actually constantly lift the load up to a certain height in a constant curve, yeah, and in a straight line. Whereas the one without the linkage system, basically you have to retract the crane as you lift to a higher height. So basically, the old system, the older system without the linkage system is an inferior design compared to the one with the linkage system. Next, sorry. We talked about hydraulics, the power system. As I was mentioned earlier, this is the next element that we talk of, or we actually discuss on for knuckle boom crane. And this is basically driving the power of the crane. And this basic hydraulic systems is very similar to any other crane that you see in the market, like a mobile crane, like a crawler crane, or even any hydraulic equipment that you can think of, would mostly consist of all these components, which is the hydraulic pump, the pressure filter, the oil tank, the oil cooler, the hydraulic hoses, and the connectors. This actually forms the hydraulic system that provides the hydraulic power to move the crane. Yeah. Just an additional point that I was mentioning earlier, the technology is moving quite fast, or rather in the hydraulic system. Basically, this has existed since 1947. Yeah, but in recent years, the last 10 or 15 years, some manufacturers are starting to introduce electric or electromagnetic powered cranes due to environmental issues, due to the contamination possibility of using hydraulic fluid. So we will eventually see this technology coming into the market probably in 5 to 10 years time. Yeah. The next is the control system. As I mentioned, basically, if you have the driving power, you need controlling devices in order to ensure that you are able to move the machine in a precise manner. And that's where the control valves comes into play. And to enhance the controllability of the control valves, in the old days, there basically is what we call a manual control, where you use a hand lever and actually control the machine on the machine. Yeah, but due to the requirement and the necessity of convenience, and also you want to actually enhance the operational capability and also the convenience of using the crane, remote control has come to the scene. Yeah, and in recent years, you remote control with proportional control features, whereby you actually can have a more precise control on your application of the machine. Yeah, then actually many manufacturers actually try to enhance their machine on the ergonomic side. Yeah, now you will find machines that can auto fold itself, and there are also cranes that actually have soft stops sensors, which allows you to so-called have a soft lifting capability towards the end stroke of the crane, where you can actually the machine will actually slow down by itself and creates a smooth transition or smooth landing, you call it, of your load at the end of the lifting cycle. Okay, so now we come to safety features, which I was talking about, the fourth element of the knuckle boom cranes. In particularly, I would like to just focus on Singapore, but I guess Hong Kong is pretty much in line with the safety requirements of these knuckle boom cranes. Malaysia-wise is a bit on not so fast, but I'm sure eventually, due to safety requirements and the so-called knowledge of safety, and due to all this code of practice that is being launched, I'm sure eventually Malaysia and other countries in Asia will catch up to this. So as you can see, in the 1980s to the early 2000s, most of the cranes are just hydraulic cranes. Basically, as I said, they are manual control. They do not have remote control. They don't have something what we call stability control, which I will elaborate a bit more later. Yeah, but towards the early 2000s, the manufacturers already incorporated what we call OLP, overload protection, on the machine to ensure that the crane does not overload. So this actually is meant to save and to protect the crane structure from breaking. Yeah, if you do not have this device, then the crane will just leave as much as it can until it breaks. Yeah, so basically towards the early 2000, manufacturer already started to incorporate this device as a mandatory supply to a lot of these knuckle boom cranes around the world. And remote control starts to come into the market, where because of the requirement of more precise control and more precision lifting that is needed, so remote control provides a platform for convenience. And also importantly, I like to emphasize that remote control actually keeps the operator away from the truck and the machine. This actually also enhances the safety aspect of operating such machine. And of course, at the early 2000s, there was still no stability control capability technology being incorporated in such machines again. And in 2010, which was about 12 years ago, stability control starts to come into play because manufacturers realize that machines are still not safe enough and operators are still not able to ensure that the machine, or rather the truck, is stable to operate at the maximum capability of the crane. So manufacturer decided to include this stability element into the safety features of knuckle boom cranes. And this safety control, this so-called stability control is enhanced and used on top of the availability of the OLP system, which is the overload protection, and also the remote control system. So basically, these three features are incorporated together in order to enhance the safety feature of the current knuckle boom cranes and also the future design of knuckle boom cranes. So coming back on the OLP, as I said, the overload protection, you can see there are some of the controls and the devices that they add on to the knuckle boom cranes in order to create this rates, what we call a rated capacity, whereby the lorry cranes actually is designed to only lift to what a given configuration or position of the load. So basically, it actually controls the movement of and control the limiting movement according to the lifting capacity of this machine. And in this context, this is still on the hydraulic design. Eventually, all the operators, all the manufacturers enhance their machine to incorporate electronically operated versions. So now currently for the last 10 years or so, the electronic versions has come into the market and provided the operators, the users, as an option, yeah, to use and control the machine electronically with these available options, which does the same job as the hydraulic counterparts in limiting the capacity of a crane according to where the position of the load is. This diagram actually shows you the importance of of what I have been talking about on the overload protection and stability. You can see from this is the first time I showed to you that basically the crane is mounted on the truck. So basically the truck and the crane is like a husband and wife relationship. Basically they work together to form the operation in order to conduct the operation. So in order to conduct the operation safely, first we must ensure that the combination, be it you mount it in the rear or you mount it in the front, yeah, the truck mounted crane is stable. So before we ensure that this design or this installation is competent, typical load test has to be done in order to commission the crane to ensure that the stability of the truck is there at 125% of the lifting load. Yeah, basically not the lifting capacity, but the load holding capacity of the crane. As I was mentioned, stability control system was only introduced the last 10 to 12 years. According to this European norm, the EN 12999/2011, yeah, which introduced the restriction of using the crane in relation to the stability of the vehicle. Yeah, so this ensured that if the government impose this norms and this regulation into the usage of knuckle boom cranes, then it's mandatory for all knuckle boom cranes to be incorporated with such stability control system. So you can see these are the various type of systems and what is available basically from all the different brands I mentioned earlier. You can see from Powfinger, from PM, from Fussy, from Hiab. These are the original factory design and incorporated features on the knuckle boom cranes, which you can order as an mandatory option or as an optional option depending on your country's regulatory demand. For Singapore, basically since 3 years ago, there was a committee formed to ensure that lorry cranes is safe to use, because of in the last 10-15 years there were numerous accidents that causes the lorry crane to tip over, or for the knuckle boom cranes to be so-called damaged. Yeah, so basically there are currently about close to 4,000 lorry cranes running around in Singapore, and most of them are basically generally about 5 to 15 years old. Yeah, most of these cranes probably would have come with the overload protection, but not stability control. And what the authorities require the users as a advice and as a not as a mandatory regulation yet, unfortunately, but as a system that does help to minimize the tipping over of a truck. They actually suggested users to incorporate this stability control system onto their truck. And you see in the previous slide, there are original systems that can come with the manufacturer for new cranes. But for all existing cranes, the last 3 years, the organization and also the various manufacturers and suppliers has come up with 2 possible systems that you can consider to add on as an aftermarket installation on an existing crane. One you see on the left, system A, I call it, yeah, is based on the outrigger extension concept, where the longer you extend, the more lifting capacity you can lift on the crane. In contrast, which actually the concept is the same, because they actually also restrict the crane from lifting in terms of different zones. You can see in the center diagram, the front, the right, and the left, and the rear zones. They have all lifting different lifting capacities in different zones. And both System A and System B concepts actually protects the crane from tipping over differently in the different zones. Yeah, on the right, you can see that it's using inclination angle sensors, which actually at the end of the day is a similar analogy compared to the system A, where you use the outriggers as the stabilizing tool. Yeah, the angle actually also tilts and also corresponds to the amount of outrigger extension you have you use in the extension of the outrigger system. Yeah. So you can see where does this all these safety devices and things come from. You can see these are very typical accidents due to implication, due to operators not doing what they're supposed to do. Yeah, you can see cranes not folding while driving off, hitting power cables, hitting bridges, hitting overhead construction, so-called shelters, yeah, and tipping over. You can see cranes tipping over due to instability, due to that the crane doesn't have a stability control system whereby they can actually stop the crane in time to prevent the crane from going into the zone where that will cause the tipping of the truck. You can see some more. Yeah, basically these are just cases where cranes are not fitted with stability control system, and they basically will tip over once the tipping angle or the tipping line of the truck is exceeded. Yeah. So what's coming to my last slide already? Yeah. Last 3 years, as I mentioned, the authorities has been working together with the stakeholders, with end users, with manufacturers to derive guidance on what this stability control system should be, and is now actually found in both of these literature, which you can actually download also from this WSHC Singapore site or MOM site, yeah, which it requires machines to have stability control system and also angle sensor audio warning system to ensure that the cranes are folded before they are actually driving off, so that they won't hit the power line, the cable, the bridge, or so-called shelters. And for the stability control system, basically to ensure that they do not tip over. Yeah. Okay. So today I finished my presentation. I'll pass this back to Amanda.
Right. Thank you, Terence. I think I'll also bring in Raymond for a very quick Q&A. We have 2 questions that I see so far. Yeah, this is the question. Oh, sorry. I think
Stop sharing.
it's okay. I can remove. Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
I think first of all, I must thank Terence, and of course, I must say that I love the annotation of describing the outrigger and the crane as husband and wife. I think that's the best description I ever heard. All right. Yes. Let's go on to the first
question. Yes.
Darren.
Okay.
Is,
from Darren, right? Okay, Darren. I think he has 2 questions. Is it common not to have outriggers fully extended during lifting? Okay, this is a good question, because if you go back to the lifting capacity diagram that I was showing, in fact, all manufacturers has designated that lifting capacity diagram mandatory, in a way that all manufacturers are the same, that the lifting capacity is according to the maximum extension of the outrigger. So unfortunately, the extension of the outriggers can vary according to your operation. So there will be instances where you cannot or not possible to fully extend your outriggers. That's where in the past, it does not change the lifting capacity of the crane. But due to the stability control system, now due to the incorporating of the stability control system, the computer on the crane will actually know what is your extension of your outriggers, and actually it will actually dictate and actually limits the lifting capacity of the crane according to the spread of the outriggers. So basically, the computer take over the judgment of the operator and actually allows the crane to lift only a certain amount of lifting capacity in respective to the maximum lifting capacity on the load chart. Okay, that answers your this first question. The second question, yeah, I didn't really see the second. Okay, in using the remote control, do you recommend the operator to operate on the
Yeah, this is the second question from Darren.
Okay. Yeah, the second. The answer is yes and no. I know where you come from, because in MEWP, basically you cannot operate a remote control outside of the platform, yeah, or outside of the basket. Yeah, for truck mounted crane, for lorry cranes, you can, yeah. And of course, if you want to work on and you stand on the truck itself, yeah, there is no regulation, or there is not a recommendation that you can or you cannot. But as I mentioned, remote control, one of the safety features is that you can actually operate the crane away from the truck. So if you do not have a stability control system on your crane, or you do not have an overload protection system on your crane, but still can have a remote control system on the crane, you can actually still work in a safer environment by not working on the truck itself or next to the truck. Yeah. So the remote control actually provides you a kind of safety net or safety possibility of working away from the danger environment. Yeah. But of course,
Yeah.
you ask me whether do I recommend the operator to stand on the truck platform. In my sense, if possible, not. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I said stay away as far as away from the danger zone as possible. Yeah. But sometimes you have no choice, because you need to see where you are loading. Yeah. So you need to be in the operating so-called the danger zone.
Right.
Any more question?
Two more. I think this one quite interesting.
Okay, why the lorry? When the lorry chassis is old, is it possible to transplant the knuckle boom crane to a new chassis? Definitely. Yeah. The fact is, what Raymond has mentioned, the husband and wife analogy. Yeah. I mean, the fact that people also divorce and change husband or change wife. So I should say it's possible. Yeah, if the husband and the wife don't work well, as what Darren says.
Okay. Yeah, I think
we are
last
sounding
question.
sounding more like a marriage counselor now.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. There's another question. Is there a recommended frequency of hydraulic oil quality check? Yes, in fact, there is. If you go to the service manual of all from all the manufacturers, the recommended standard for hydraulic oil change is actually 1,000 hours. Yeah, but unfortunately in Asia, from my experience is, I think it's very few I have seen people following this recommendation from the manufacturers, unfortunately. Yeah, so this contributes to a lot of failures actually on the machines.
Right. Thank you. I think, Raymond, I think those are the questions we have today here. Is there any particular moment to match the husband and wife? Okay. Darren, I think we will take your answer later. Okay, and we'll take your question later. We will need to move on to our final speaker this evening already. So if we have any
Okay,
other
thank
questions
you.
for Karen, yeah, Terence, you can take it offline with the viewers here. Right. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Now, we are going to our last speaker today. Our last speaker today is Mr. Philip Tan. Philip is well established in the communication field with more than 40 years of work experience with notable establishments such as Singapore's Ministry of Defence, AT&T Communications, the General Electric Company, the Singapore Technologies Telemedia, ST Mobile Data, ST Advanced Radio, Singapore Cablevision, and also StarHub. He founded Extreme DSP Global Private Limited and Vertix brand with his friends to provide an affordable and useful mobile communication products for sports and work. As CEO and CTO, he believes businesses can benefit from Vertix's easy-to-use system that is affordable and reliable, improving workers' safety and productivity who works on tasks that requires coordination with hearing protection and hands-free operation in noisy and poor visibility conditions. Here to talk to us and to answer your question if your workers are communicating safely and effectively in high-risk work situations, since it is an often overlooked area that endangers workers' safety, increases risk of accidents and financial loss from work stoppages. Mr. Philip Tan from Extreme DSP Global. Are you here with us? Hi, Philip.
Okay,
Hi,
I will
Philip.
share.
Yes. Hi.
Okay, are we good to go?
I'm waiting for your presentation to come up. Hold on.
Yeah. Is it up already?
No, I don't have it.
Wait, hold on. Go
Hmm.
back. Oh, share screen, sorry. I have to select.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Yes.
is it okay?
Okay, I see it now. Maybe you want to go back to your first slide.
Yeah. Do I have to hide this?
You can. It's best if you hide it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I can
We're at your
comment.
topics today. So you want to
Okay.
go back to your first slide?
Oh, this is the first slide.
Oh, this is
my
your first slide. All right. Okay. Over to you, Philip. I'll be
Oh.
offline for now.
Okay, thank you, Amanda, and thank you. Good afternoon to all of you, ladies and gentlemen out there attending this seminar. I'm Philip Tan, CEO of Vertix. The product name is Vertix, and basically, we are a Singapore company that specializes in work and sports communication. So anyway, today I have listened to very, very good speakers talking about safety. And certainly, I think these are all very valuable information that we can all learn from. And today, basically, this topic, are your workers communicating safely and effectively in high-risk work situations? Basically, I'm here to share with you an often overlooked area that endangers worker safety, increasing the risk of accidents and financial loss from work stoppages. So what I will attempt to do is to give you some quick context and scope before I proceed to the presentation. And of course, our earlier speakers have actually covered quite a few areas that are extremely important, from the code of practice, from hearing protection, all that. So basically, I have some similarities in those areas, so I will just quickly cover them. Work safety involves risk management and assessment, the procedures and the processes, the code of practices that has been mentioned today. The correct use of PPE. Our speaker, Louis from Honeywell, talked a bit about that. Hearing protection, ear protection, face protection, and all that. The awareness of the environment. I think our last speaker talked about, the outrigger and all that. So you really have to know the environment and operate in the environment safely. Okay, and of course, training. Training is very important because if you are not well trained, you do not know the risks that you're undertaking in the job. And attitude to safety. And of course, there are many other areas that are very important for worker safety. But my area today, I'm just going to cover is safety communication. And take a look at this video first.
If you're good with the control, that's the key. Is communication important in this job? Definitely, that's the key. So the guys on the ground, they basically my eyes and my hands. They are my sense, and I have to follow what they tell me. If we lost connection, then we stop because we can't work without communication.
Okay, so that very brief video which I extracted from one of the training videos that's been produced for the Hinkley UK is that this guy is sharing communication is like eyes and hands and my sense for safe coordination. So clearly communication is very important in the work that we do, in the jobs they've been undertaking where risk is involved. And I will just run through, some of these areas I'll run through briefly and quickly, the 4 leading causes of death in the construction industry, sometimes referred as the fatal fall, are falls, are being caught in or between objects, electrocutions, and being struck by an object. This one, my data I just gotten is mainly from the US because they have a very good compilation, and now I know MOM has also got an excellent compilation for our local information and data. And here it shows, as pointed out by our earlier speaker, the construction. Okay, in this case, the US have about 1,000 deaths just the last 2 years. All right, and the construction is top on that list with transportation, warehousing, agriculture, forestry, and the others following down the line. And the type of injuries that has been sustained and captured covers like exposure to harmful substances or environments such as electricity, radiation, noise, chemicals. COVID-19 pushed this data way up, but it is anyway in the top 4 category. And contact with objects and equipment like a moving object striking a worker striking against an object or equipment, the worker's body being squeezed, pinched, a worker being struck, caught, or crushed, like in the case of the steel bars that fell on the worker and who died. So these are very common areas for work accidents to occur, and the type of injuries can be sustained. Okay, so now let's focus a little bit on noise. This is a video, a preview video from BoCam that I took, and the data is all there, where I got it from.
Once your hearing is gone, it's gone forever. There is no cure for hearing loss. Noise at work can also be hazardous when the sound levels or the PPE you use to protect your ears prevent you from hearing warning signals and verbal instruction. Further, the strain of listening and talking over noise has been shown to increase stress levels and negatively impact on morale, efficiency, and overall job performance.
Okay, so this short video tells us, and I think it's very well known from the earlier presentation, that noise reduces our ability to communicate properly, increases the stress, reduces our ability to be aware of the environment because you can't hear properly noises around you. Hearing loss is permanent, and this is really a key factor that Louis had mentioned earlier as well, because once you lose it, you lose it. So it's important that workers get hearing protection in noisy work environments. So hearing health issues are basically the noise-induced hearing loss or occupational noise-induced hearing loss can result in tinnitus, 1/3 of work-related diseases. I got this data earlier, so it's a 15 most serious health problem in the world. Hearing loss is permanent. And the work-related stress is harder to hear correctly. It's difficult to understand verbal instructions, which is very important for work. You cannot find work if you cannot hear properly. Harder to discern sounds of danger, feeling tired, pressurized, coping with work, affecting the mental health and emotions. And this is very dangerous. If you are working in a dangerous situation and your mental health or emotions kick in. Increasing the risk of accidents and incidents, and also productivity loss on the job itself. So basically, workers employed in construction, manufacturing, mining, and the other areas highlighted have the highest risk of noise-induced hearing loss. And hearing loss interferes with communication, which I believe all of us know this very well. You cannot have good personal attention and cognition, understanding your environment, the dangers. And lastly, this age group, which is 30 to 59, is really the group of people who are at the highest risk of being exposed to occupational noise, because they are the people in the workforce. So this is going to be very, very important, crucial that we can do something to help, and we need to understand this problem because it's often misunderstood. So what can we do here to help? Basically, we need to address the hearing protection and the communication needs to improve work safety, like, for example, an environment noise audit, safety audit for risky tasks, like the operation of cranes. You have to have a safety audit. The appointed person mentioned earlier in the code of practice, provide appropriate safety communication, because if you do not have safety communication, as you saw in the short video clip, he can't do his job properly. And the benefits to business is it lowers the risk of work stoppages, investigations, fines due to accidents. It improves on-time delivery for the project. It maintains the business reputation and profitability for the business. So I will just briefly go over some of these work environments here, just to highlight a few key points. Like noise, you can get noise from a machinery, a heavy machinery room, from track grinding train. It's very, very noisy, or paving work, or road construction, road repair work, or even in the area of tree cutting, where you have a chipper bringing the logs in and then grounding them to wood chips, or even in the factory where a safety guy, have to coordinate the lifting operations. And these are basically risks that can result in contact with objects and equipment, injury, or exposure to harmful noise, like in the case of the noise generated by the heavy machinery. And there's noise safety guide here by OSHA in the US, and I believe many countries around the world have similar safety standards. Most of the work that workers who are operating with machinery and equipment are above 95 dB. They can go as high as even 110 dB. And the exposure time limit that you want to limit yourself to is 4 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour. So even at 90 dB, I mean, when I'm talking in a room or in an area where there is noise, like surrounding ambient noises, probably you're going to talk like between 75 to 85 dB. You have to be louder than the noise in order to be heard. And people who have hearing problems, they have to increase the volume to hear what is being communicated to them, or they will lose the ability to understand what they're being told. So in the area of coordination, like for example, this bridge repair, the guy below have to talk to the guy sitting on top. This can result in visibility issue, or the guy moving this very heavy equipment with many workers around, and some safety spotters checking the rigging to make sure the rigging is okay, or the crane operator who is right behind here, he can't really see each other. So you have visibility issue that can impact coordination. People working in the electrical maintenance and installation, they need to work with both hands high up on the tower. So this one will require some safety in terms of communication, or in the tree industry, tree care, where they have to cut tree, operate cranes, chip the logs that come down into wood chips, all very noisy operations, so communication can become an issue. Or lastly here, you can see people who have to wear safety protection for moving hazardous materials, or like COVID-19, in very high-risk situations. Talking through the mask is going to be difficult, like this guy tried to talk to the person behind or something like that. You need communication, you need safety communication to provide the level of protection and ability to communicate and to do their job. Okay, visibility, I think, is very clear cut here, where poor visibility can result in communication problems. You see shadows. Even for me, I drive in the day and in the night. Sometimes I can miss the turn, because at night it looks a bit different. So working at night is always more difficult than working in the day. And that shadows being cast, if you try to signal in the dark, it's very difficult. You can shout, you can use various equipment, which I will run through shortly. Okay, here is the communication methods that can be available today. Okay, basically what is commonly used, people use whistle, they blow 1 time, 2 blasts, 3 blasts. And of course, if you are working in a noisy environment, or you have workers with hearing difficulty and they have to protect their ears, sometimes you can hear the blast wrongly, or you have to repeat the blast in order to confirm exactly what is intended in that whistling method of communication. Another one is you can incorporate whistle with verbal, with visual signaling, again, very common. And in the industry for crane operation in particular, like this company, Maxim Crane, I say with absolute precision, accuracy needed for a job, being able to communicate clearly. Direction is critical, but this is not always an easy task. Construction sites can be exceptionally loud and busy, meaning verbal communication is at risk of being drowned out by roaring machinery. So this is mentioned by this company called Maxim Crane, because noise and lighting issues can impact verbal or visual signaling. And when you try to do verbal and it's noisy, your hearing protection has to be removed. And signaling standards differ between countries and even companies. So the attention to signalman, you start to pay attention to signalman. That means you have to keep your eyes on the signalman, and you are lifting a staff. You also have to keep an eye on what you're lifting. So there can be delays from repeating, and it's stressful and it's tiring. Okay, very common today, apps on your phone, Zello, Boxer, two-way, walkie-talkie, using your mobile phone, which is operating off a mobile network. In places where you have good coverage, you may be able to use it. What if your project is in an area with poor signal coverage? You can't use this. Besides, it is network dependent. That means you've got no control. There will be delay in signaling due to the network being busy, or many people are using their phones in the vicinity, and you can only do talking or sending your voice over one person at a time. And there's always delay. It's not private, it's not hands-free. And if you tell your workers to use a handphone and there's a phone call coming in during the critical moment of the work, you have a problem too. So handphone, although it's possible, I highlight here just as a possible solution to be considered as a range of solutions that's available today. Walkie-talkies, these are the most common, most prevalent communication tools that are used in every area of work today. Is a very good system. It's powerful, it's loud. And this walkie-talkie, unfortunately, because they have common sharing of frequencies, they are prone to interference. If a job site has many walkie-talkies, you have interference. I've worked with people who say they have walkie-talkies just adjacent to each other and they are interfered. And push to talk is required for walkie-talkie, which means it's not hands-free. And very importantly is that one person at a time. So if you have 5 people working together and safety spotter number 1 press his walkie-talkie to say it is safe to go, but safety spotter number 2 at another location saw danger, he cannot press his walkie-talkie and communicate because until safety spotter number 1 releases his push-to-talk button. So whoever is operating the crane or moving equipment will not be able to do anything at all, and this poses a risk and a hazard. So this video again, Hinkley Point, just take a look.
I was lucky enough for the company to put me on a slinger signaller course, which took 3 days, and then I had to do 300 hours to become a competent slinger.
What's the best bit you enjoy?
I would say working in a team. You have to be very confident, trustworthy, and just have basically a lot of respect for the drivers, other slingers, because they're at your beck and call, really.
Talk about communication.
Yeah.
So obviously you're up with Frank, really up high. Is it all done on a radio? Do you have a special language? How do you communicate to each other?
So there's 2 types of communication. There's hand signals and there's a radio as well. So 9 times out of 10 use a radio. However, that's not always the case. If you've got your hands on a load, you can't always go to the radio. So pinching up, which is this movement here. So that's when the chains are taut and it's just about to lift off the ground. When it's clear and it gets about this high, then you send them up. You slew to that direction, slew in that direction, and then bring them back down wherever you want them to land.
Okay, so this tells us that there is training on signaling, take 3 days, 300 hours, because you really have to be proficient in signaling to ensure that the right messaging is sent to the crane operator. And if you have no communication, basically that's the only thing. The crane operator have to look at your hands all the time. If it's daytime, I think it's good, and you're in a visible location, which is what signalers have to be, watching the load and the operator. Radio is used 90% of the time. Hands are needed at times to rig or sling materials, which means that if you're using walkie-talkie, you can't press like what she says, so she goes on to using hand signaling, which is good. And a good way to communicate when you have such limitation, because a radio needs to press and talk. Okay, so are there other solutions? And the good news is yes, there are other solutions, and these are specialized work safety communication solutions. And it is to address like noisy, low visibility environments where hearing protection is required, where confidence is required because of visibility. You have full duplex instantaneous, where all 5 people can be able to communicate without waiting for any one person to release the PTT button. So if safety spotter 2 saw a danger that safety spotter didn't see, right, or he's telling the operator that yes, continue, but he saw a danger, all he say is stop, he will hear it, everybody will hear it, and the machine operator can stop the operation immediately. So the full awareness of the team is enabled. And with no PTT, if you require to work with both hands, like tree cutting with a chainsaw, very noisy, you can't communicate, you can't shout loud enough because the chainsaw is louder, right? And you have to coordinate with the person lifting the trunk that would be cut off. And you're talking to people on the ground to tell them that you are almost done cutting, so be careful, stay away, etc. So this is another area for safety communication to be used. Okay, of course, the type of protection that you need with the communication, whether with muff or without ear muff, or with hard hat and you need suitable wearing options so that you stay cool in this case, or in this case, you have no choice. Maybe the Honeywell one was good. I will talk to Louis and see whether we can consider putting our system in the Honeywell V100. So a specialized system basically offers effective communication in noisy and low visibility work environments, improved awareness of all team members, is responsive, it's hands-free, it's full duplex, instantaneous voice communication with little delay. Appropriate wearing options are made available for mounting on safety helmets or without safety helmets. If you are not operating in the danger zone, somebody is operating in an area that is safe, you don't need a hard hat, that is also possible. And it's operation in all weather conditions, whether it's rain or hot sun. So some specialized work communication systems are displayed here. Of course, Vertix is our brand, but there are other brands like Sensia, like EarTech, like Sina, like Sonetics that are available that provide basically what I have just described. And if you need such communication, of course, you need to research all and decide which one you want. But for our friends here in Singapore, we are at your doorstep, and we provide all the support that you need and the advice that you will require. So to select the correct system for your need, the first question that you should ask is, are there specific safety requirements of the job which requires safety communication? If your answer is no, you don't have to consider the rest. But if your answer is yes, as we can see from the amount of accidents that happen today everywhere, because there are so many work accidents for various reasons. If you require, then the next question is the environment itself. Is it noisy, low visibility, or both? This is almost like your environment audit. And then is working with tools using both hands required? That means, does your worker need this? Is simultaneous real-time communication among all team members required? How many safety spotters do you have in that job, if any? What is the total number of users you need this communication for? Is the coordination with another team on the same job required, whether they are close by or further away? Because in the US, like power line maintenance, the power line running between poles can be a mile away. So they can have two teams working on that section and they need to communicate. So how many hours of operation is needed? Is the system designed for industrial use? Because there are systems that are designed for motorcycle and all that. So some people use those, but those are not well fitted for industrial applications. Is it easy to use and does it work reliably under all weather conditions? What is the distance between team members? Is the cost of the system within your budget? Because there are various systems have different costs. So is there warranty and support? So we all know safety is paramount for workers. They come to work, they need to go home. They are a father, a son, a brother, even a sister, because now we have people, females working in the industry as well. So safety is of paramount importance. So noise, visibility conditions, lack of suitable communications tools, stress on workers lead to lower productivity. Death and injury, equipment damage requiring cost and time to replace, work stoppage for accident investigations, all lead to downtime. But downtime, if you have no choice, it happens. But preventing this downtime, preventing accident, preventing worker injury is very, very crucial, in my opinion. Okay, and of course, for businesses that are looking at whether they should use a communication system like this, they have to think worker compensation, hiring when an accident happens, You may have difficult hiring when everybody knows in the industry that this company doesn't consider safety, right? And what about your equipment rental, your salary costs, LD for delayed delivery when you have a site shut down for investigation, and the business reputation impact for future jobs, and the fines that the company has to pay for safety lapses, which I think it was mentioned, whether I think the key word here is reasonably practicable from one of our earlier speakers. That means when you look at it, is it reasonably practicable that you do not use or you use a system that can help improve the safety of the job. So in summary, worker safety and productivity are closely intertwined. Work safety audits are essential to identify and mitigate worker and project or job risks. The use of specialized safety communication, which is much neglected, should be considered in work that requires hearing protection, communication through noise or poor visibility, working with both hands, hands-free, and full duplex, meaning that everyone in that team can talk to each other at the same time when needed for safety reasons and coordination. And companies can benefit in better productivity, in employee retention and hiring, in a good safety record, higher profitability, and that's about it.
Right.
Okay,
Thank you,
I can
Philip.
go back. Yeah.
No worries. Thank you, Philip. I think that was a very interesting presentation. I've learned so much in that one presentation. So,
you.
yeah, Raymond, you want to take some
Right,
questions?
sure. Thanks, Philip. Right, thank you for staying with us, all the audience. And I think I've seen what you have presented, and I really think that there is not enough awareness out there that people are having the need of such kind of clear and precise communication, especially when there is in a situation where there are critical moment where you need to receive the right information in order to stop a disaster from happening. And at the same time, I also felt that the people are unaware that there are such kind of solution out there. That's why no one really thought about it. And with this, I think let us ask our audience out here, how many of you are in the situation where you need such kind of critical communication to be clear, precise, and no one is jamming up your line. I remember when I was in the police force back then, where we communicate and someone accidentally just press on to the PTT, push to talk button, and that's it. The rest of us couldn't communicate, and it's very frustrating. So it takes quite some time, am I revealing too much? Someone will have to find out who is the holder of the walkie-talkie, and then give a call to the guy to tell him that, hey, your walkie-talkie is jammed, in the sense that the push talk button is jammed, and the whole system could not communicate because of this. So this whole thing, when we put into a critical situation, especially the lifting situation, or even heavy movers operation, that is the time when I think exactly what Philip have described. There are a lot of spotters around, but the problem is if the spotters are unable to communicate the critical information to the one who is doing the lifting or operating the machine, and that is a disaster. So I guess I really like this solution, and that is actually a very, very good solution to prevent any disaster from happening. I think we have a question from Jimmy. Is this will enhance communication without the need for another separate signal? Yeah, totally agree. All right. Yes, any one of us here actually are in this situation where you think you need to use such kind of communication? If yes, please type yes, and I will try, and myself and Amanda will try our best to convince Philippe to offer one unit out, and for us to try it. I know.
That's right. I don't think this solution is very easily accessible as in cost wise. I don't think it's something so dispensable for Philip's side. So we need
How
more.
do you sell it? Yeah. How do
Yeah.
you sell it, Philippe?
Yeah.
Do you sell one or two or three pieces? How do you sell it?
Okay, today we are selling mainly in the United States, in Canada, in UK, because in those countries the workers are very, very aware of the safety needs and protection, right? And also I think the laws there are more stringent. The companies can be sued, for not providing adequate safety protection for their workers. But also the workers are more alert to how this communication system can work for them. We have users in road paving, road maintenance. We have users in the tree care industry, where they bring and cut down trees, maintenance, and we have people who are also in the the other related industries like electricity, power line maintenance that use our products because they can communicate much better.
Could you share with us roughly what's the selling price out there now?
Okay,
how
in
do
the
you sell it? In one or in a pair or in I don't know.
We can sell one, we sell two, because I have a distributor in the United States. So normally the pricing is that if you buy one piece, it is about 15% higher than if I buy a pair. Because anyway, this system need a pair to work, to start.
Yeah.
And if you are a customer, of course, you want to buy another one or two pieces, normally my distributor will give them at the price.
Okay, I think the golden question here is how much?
How much? Okay,
a pair
it is $615 for a pair.
$615.
A pair, two units.
Okay.
Okay,
so,
and it can be mounted. It can be mounted on any earmuff.
All right. So let us offer it to our audience here. Anyone is interested to try out? Of course, I don't think this is a giveaway. I would rather think that this would be a renter, a free renter for you to use it. A trial. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that you can use it for a period of time. Use it for a period of time, and after which we will collect it back. But of course, we're more than happy for you to share with us your experience on the products. And maybe Amanda, can you send out the link so that?
Yes. Sure.
Okay, Leon. All right, I appreciate Leon. Thank you so much. We have Leon coming in. Okay, now we just send out the a chance to rent it. All right. Yes.
Because this is the first time we are trying to do this in Asia, I am quite inclined that whoever the one that gets to use it, as we understand each other better, I may actually give away that system completely.
Wow. Okay. Now it's not only use; it's a giveaway.
Yeah.
Wow, y'all heard that right?
So any one of you who are interested to try out and probably receive it when receive the pair unit from Philippe, please register your interest now with the link that we have posted out. And yeah, I guess this, honestly, I'm quite excited about this solution that you have shared, because I think, as I mentioned, a lot of us still are not aware that this kind of stoppage in communication could cause a disaster, especially for those industry that need really simultaneous communication when they are carrying out the job. Okay, I guess we have sent out the link already.
Yes, we already did. It's in your comments wherever you are watching us from. When you if you want to try this out for free, please do send in your interest via the forms and the links that we have already put out in the comments. Yeah, you can see.
Right. And sorry, before that, I forgot to ask Philip, is there a restriction for the test? Probably it's only Singapore for now, Singapore audience.
I think for Singapore first. Let's aim for Singapore.
I understand. It's also for the logistic and
for the logistic and yeah.
All right.
Right.
Sure. Thank you so much, Philip. Thanks for giving this out. Worth of US 600 and what 615 US dollar. Appreciate. Thank you so much for your time and for your generous offer to let our audience have a chance to test out this great solution. Appreciate.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Philip.
Okay. Bye now. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you.
All right. On behalf of our team at WSH Asia, we have finally come to the end of our webinar today. And before we wrap things up, I just want to share a very quick announcement from our side at WSH Asia. We have our awards 2022, which is back, and it's open for nominations and submissions. This year, we have a total of 5 categories for products and also 1 safety influencer category award for all of you to register for your nominations as well as your products and services. So please do take a look at the awards page if you have the time, because we are now open for submissions. With that, I would like to thank everyone for joining us today. Thank you, team at WSH Asia, for supporting at the back end. And if all goes well, we hope to see each other in the next webinar. And till then, please stay safe and goodbye.